Hey everybody, Rich Lang again down here in the bunker. I know I've had a lot of fun with different videos that we've produced, but this one's serious. This one, based on your decision, will either save your life or will get you killed. There is absolutely no doubt about it. This is shelter in place or bugging out. Not only will making the right decision save your life, but your family's life, maybe your pod's life. It's a decision not to be made lightly. I know there's a lot of videos out there that seem to make bugging out cool. It is not cool. It is not cool at all. If you think it's cool, gather your stuff up and just head to the wilderness for a while and see how long you can survive, or your family to survive. I kind of want to go over some of the things that you might want to contemplate. First of all, why are you bugging out, or why are you sheltering in place? And then some of the factors to shelter in place or to bug out. Again, this is a rather serious video, and when I talk about bugging out, I'm not talking about evacuation. I'm not talking about hurricane coming in and the state wants you to evacuate to another location. You're coming back. That is not what this is about. This is about a more permanent thing, something that you may be gone for a while. This is civilization breakdown kind of stuff. I mean, I live in the Midwest. People's towns get devastated with tornadoes. You come back. There's just some places to go. So let's talk about this. Is what's causing you to make this decision to bug out? Is it weather? Is it natural disasters? Civil unrest, loss of power. When I think of natural disasters, about the only natural disaster I can possibly think of that you would leave and never come back is if a volcano came up in your backyard. And I know it sounds funny, but it's not. Talk to some people in Hawaii or in Norway or other places where the volcano just decides to come up and they want your land. In the weather, I mean, is it raining, flooding, mudslides? I mean, are you bugging out just to get away from major floods? Has it just been raining forever? Snow, is it just piling up and you need to get out because you're running out of food? Heat or cold, is it super hot or super cold and you have no power? You have to go someplace. All right, so you're bugging out. Natural disasters that cause you to leave. Again, earthquakes, flooding, hurricane, volcanoes. Again, remember the difference between evacuation and bugging out. Civil unrest can also cause this. Is it local? Is it statewide? Is it nationwide? I mean, has, like I said, a civilization broken down, and where you're at, you have to leave. Loss of power. Is it local? Local, normally if us preppers, we can kind of handle it because we have the generators and we have the fuel and stuff like that to keep things going, and we have the power supply. Is it area wide, or is the grid down? Is the grid totally down, and you do need to get out and away from where you're at because there's no food, there's no whatever. Again, watch your surroundings. All right, is it safer to stay or go? Huge question, and the number one thing you have to think about is, can you defend you and or your family, your pets, and your supplies better on the road or at your residence? Have you hardened your residence in case something happens? Civil unrest. There's a lot of people out there who's going to want what you have. I hate to tell you that. People have not prepared. Your neighbors may not have even prepared. And when it comes down to times of crisis, what yours is yours. That's why I talk to my neighbors, and I tell them what I have, and I tell them what they should do. Some listen, some don't. Do you have family members that can't go? Are they bedridden? Are they in wheelchairs? Do they need oxygen supplies? Maybe you have to leave because of the oxygen supplies. And do you have family members missing because of the crisis? Do you have to stay there till they get to your residence, or have you planned for something away where they know that if it affects where you live, where they're from, be it school or on vacation or away on a business trip, do they know someplace out of the area where they can meet you? Can they still contact you? Is your vehicle good to go? And your vehicle may be a bike. I've had a lot of people ask me, well, Can't we bug out on a bike? Sure. But just remember how much you can carry in your backpack. Philmont, we used to carry 60 to 85 pounds based on if we had food and other stuff with us, but we spread that out amongst us. If it's just you or just your family, you may have young kids that can't carry a lot, so think about that. Take your bikes with you on your vehicle in case you can't go any farther. Is it mechanically sound? Is it large enough? We talked about that. Do a dry run. Put your stuff that you absolutely have to have, your bins that are tagged to go, in your vehicle and see if everybody fits. Do you need more than one vehicle? Is your family big? If you have a lot of supplies that you have to take with? Do you have communication equipment? Two-way radios, because phones may not work. We've talked about that also. And obviously a lot of this stuff is, if you have a vacation home or someplace where you're going to that's already stocked, you may not have to worry about this stuff. You can pile everybody in the car and go, we're out of here. But do remember multiple routes to get there. If you're going to stay, which I believe is the safest option most times, do you have the supplies to stay? Do you have sufficient supplies? Is there a place where you can resupply if you absolutely have to? And how far do you have to go to resupply? Is it corner grocery store? Is it Sam's Club or Costco down, a mile and a half away? And you better do that early, because it's going to empty out pretty darn quickly. Shelter in place. So if we're going to shelter in place, you want to make sure that you have supplies for at least 72 hours. For major incidents, 3 months. 3 months. I know freeze-dried food and boil and bag food isn't the greatest to have forever, but it'll keep you alive. Again, can you get more supplies if need be? Where and will they still be there? Is it safe to go get them? And how will you get there? So your sheltering in place is another thing. I mentioned this earlier. Is your home defendable from people, the weather, animals, and additional natural effects? That's a decision you have to think about. You need to harden your residence against people coming to take your stuff. Do you need to go get family members to bring them to you so that you guys can shelter in place or get ready to bug out? Just because you're sheltered in place doesn't mean you can't bug out later. But it may be a longer duration because the roads may be full. There may be people out there looking for your stuff, and you want to kind of figure out a way around. Did you go get family members? School, are they local across the country? Are they at work? Is somebody on vacation? And do you have a set pickup place that maybe you can leave your residents and go pick them up where they're at and bring them back safely? You may feel better that way. They may not have the wherewithal to be able to protect themselves. If there's looting, here's a suggestion for a lot of people. I've seen it on the internet. Make your residence look already looted. I'm not saying break windows or break doors, but throw clothes and some other stuff around the house. Throw some different things out there. Make it look like it was looted, and people will just then continue by. Or make the looters think twice about your residence. How you're going to do that, that's up to you. Again, hardening. I don't think I'd want to be out in front with a shotgun because you're standing there and there's people walking by and they just may overrun you. Just harden your resident. Make your dogs very vocal. Put stuff out there. Big dog bowls, heavy leashes, so they think twice about that. So then we go to bugging out. Where are you going? Do you have a plan on where you're going, or are you just going out onto the open road? Try to figure out some place to go specifically. Again, if you have a cottage, a second home, a family member, a relative, or something, and they're out of harm's way, set it up with them that you're coming. Maybe a simple phone call, or if they know your area is messed up, that they know you're coming and they're getting ready. And leave supplies there if you can. A couple bins of clothes and different things, personal items. Don't forget medication. Don't forget forms of identification. You need those forms of identification to prove where you live so you can come back in once everything's calmed down, because if your area is devastated, National Guard and state police, wherever you live, they're not going to let you back in if you can't prove that that's where you live. Also need medical records, because you may have to go to a doctor somewhere where you bug out to. Do you need to pick up people on the way? If you're here and your location you're going here, but you have family members here, do you know how to get to here and then over to here safely? And are there multiple ways to get here and here? All right, it's just everything you have to think about. Have a way, if you're working with a pod, and we've talked about pods before, that everybody knows when it's time to go. Even if you can't communicate, some indicator. Maybe even if you can communicate, a keyword or a trigger word that's going to trigger everybody to go. Always keep informed. When things start happening, get in contact with your pod and be prepared ahead of time to leave. Are security measures set, and is everyone ready to defend the family and the pod when you leave? Are you set? Have you trained? Do you have the ammunition? Do you have the right firearms? Do you have knives? Whatever it is. Are you set to defend yourself? And when I say set to defend yourself, and this is where it gets kind of serious, you may have to kill so you are not killed, or someone in your family is not kidnapped or killed. You have to be prepared for that, and that is at a moment's notice. But when we're talking bugging out, we're talking it is bad, very, very bad. All right, and there are bad people out there that want your stuff. Even good people turn bad when they don't have food, they don't have shelter. So just remember that. Okay, you are bugging out. So here we go. Is where you're going still safe? Do you have any communications with where you're at to know if it's safe there? Is your route safe? Are your multiple routes safe to go there? Are they clogged? I just think of a scene from The Walking Dead where Rick comes out of the hospital and there are just cars littered all over the highway because they can't go anywhere. Think of evacuations even from Florida when they're told days in advance. Look at, how backed up the cars are. Do you have hard maps? Do you have paper maps? Phone may be dead, gone. You may run out of power. The web might be down. The military, based on what happened, may have shut down the GPS because they can do that. They run it. Let's face it. All right, it's their satellites. Are you ready to complete the trip on foot, on a bicycle? Are your supplies carryable? Can you carry all your supplies on your back? Think about what you're going to need out on the road, and think about where you're going and what you have when you get there. Do you have food? Do you have sanitation stuff, hygiene stuff? Do you have medication? All that stuff already there, or are you carrying it on your back? In the Scouts, an ounce in the morning is a pound in the afternoon, so just be prepared because it's going to get heavy. All right? And if I were you, I'd practice hiking with it. When you take your dogs for a walk, throw a backpack on. Increase your weight so you're ready to go. That's how we train for Philmont. And like anything, if anybody's ever put an addition on a house or built a house, we all know there's a 10% fudge factor. If your addition costs $45,000, plan on 55. Okay? We know that. Everybody knows that. Do that with your supplies too, especially your food and water. Add 50%. Whatever you think you need, add 50%. And that includes even your filtering supplies. You got one life straw, get 2 per people. Get the tablets. Just have that ready. So these are the things you have to think about when you bug out, when you're going to shelter in place. Because bugging out, you can't have all this stuff. You are not taking this all with you. And this here is here for a reason. You have this stuff because you know you're going to need it. Hopefully it fits in your vehicle. Hopefully the roads are clear. Hopefully you get out in time. There's a lot of hopefully right there. I heard a general one time say is the best plan for a battle goes out the window the first time, when the first bullet is fired. Just like your plan. The minute you have to leave, there are so many variables you have to be prepared for, mentally and physically and equipment-wise. I'm just going to end it on one thing. There's been a couple videos also out there on the internet about inch bags, inch, I-N-C-H. It stands for I'm never coming home. And they have a bag about this big. Okay? I don't know where they're going. I don't know if they have a supply somewhere. The guys that put out these videos are really good preppers. They're really good survivalists, and I don't understand why they have all of a sudden become minimalists. But take a look at that. Go on YouTube and take a look at Inch Bag and see if you think the same way I do, because I think it's ridiculous. In a video coming up, we'll take a look at bags. Your everyday carry bag, your bug out bag, your get home bag, your I'm not coming home bag, which is probably multiple bags. But please, shelter in place or bug out is a life and death decision. I'm not kidding. You know it. And I know it. I pray to God you never have to bug out. No one wants to bug out. It's like insurance. You pay for insurance, but you hope you never have to use it. And it's like firemen. We always used to say is that we're just an insurance policy that y'all pay for and hopefully you never use. So that's about it. Shelter in place, bug out. Kind of a serious talk here. But like always, hope you liked the video. If you like it, please comment on it, please let me know what you think. Pass this on to all the people that you know. It's really kind of important that they get this whole concept of shelter in place and bugging out. But like I've always said, you know, please subscribe if you aren't. Have your friends subscribe so they get these videos all the time. And always be aware of your surroundings, because you won't know if you're sheltering in place or bugging out if you don't know what's going on around you, via the radio, via television, via, you know, even Facebook and other local information sites. But be prepared to react to your surroundings and what's going on. Be prepared to be on your own for up to 72 hours and beyond. You know, and like we always say as we end these videos, prep like your life depends on it, because we all know it does. And not only your life, but your family's life and your pod's life. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Have a good day.